Hello and welcome. My name is Hazel Thompson and I'm your host of Beyond the Story podcast. This podcast is to highlight the incredible stories of people around the world that I've had the privilege to journey alongside as a photojournalist and filmmaker, often in hostile environments and war-torn countries. Together, we'll be focusing on key justice and humanitarian issues affecting the world today, hearing directly from the individuals behind the headlines and their journey beyond the story. I hope as listeners that you will be inspired by the transformational strength of my guests. Come and join me on this journey and hear the first-hand experiences of ordinary people surviving the extraordinary and the transformational power of hope in not only surviving, but thriving beyond the story. My guest today was born in a brothel to a fifth-generation temple prostitute and grew up in Mumbai's red light district. As a photojournalist, I've been travelling to India since my early 20s, a country of extraordinary beauty where I also documented poverty and injustice. I spent 11 years going back and forth, embedded undercover, in order to tell the story of the brutal reality of sex slavery and trafficking in India. My guest opened the secrets of the red light to me. He was my fixer, my translator, my guide, my bodyguard, and teacher of the realities of how a red light district operates. But more than that, he's become a dear friend and brother. Please be aware that today's conversation includes content that some listeners may find upsetting, with references to modern slavery, trafficking, and sexual violence. Now, today I have a very special guest. And before I begin to introduce him, I just want to let you know that we actually have changed his name for security reasons so that he can freely share his story and share how we have both worked together. So, welcome, my dear friend and my brother from India. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today, Rahaul?
Good, Miss Hazel. I'm doing well.
Now, it's such a joy to have you come and talk in person today. Yeah. As you and I have actually known each other, which I sat down and worked out for this interview, nearly 20 years.
Yes.
It's a long time, half our lives. I actually first met Rahaul in 2002 when I started to investigate sex trafficking and sex slavery in Mumbai's red light district, which is called Kamatipura. And Rahaul has become like a brother from another mother through all we have experienced together. And I have to say, out of all my years of working, Rahaul, you are probably the closest person I've worked with and over the most many years. We've worked extremely close together and in quite dangerous environments and also travelled across India together. You were my main fixer for my 11 years of investigating sex slavery and trafficking in India and for my ebook Taken. Without you, without your family, without the charity's assistance, opening up the access to Kamatipura, opening up the world of sex slavery in India, also just your protection and the way you looked after me, I can honestly say that I wouldn't have been able to tell the stories of the young women who've been trafficked and enslaved. So thank you that all you did over those years.
Most welcome.
Because you were a gift. I wanted to get Rahaul on today. We worked and did together over many years. We have a very special relationship as a journalist and as a fixer, as I would call you, but you've become a dear friend. Yeah. But you have an incredible story, and I wanted to share that with the listeners because it's incredible what you have experienced and what you've journeyed.
Thank you so much, Miss Hazel. It is really a great opportunity once again to see you and share my story. It's really a great privilege, and I'm very happy that after a long time being to see you and speak to you and listen from you. It is really good. Thank you very much.
First thing I want to ask you, now I did ask us a bit earlier, Rahaul couldn't remember this and I was like, what? But do you remember when we first met?
I truly, I do not remember, but a lot of things going in my mind. But few minutes ago, I recap myself. Yeah, I met you in the...
So I met Rahaul's mother was running a night shelter for a charity for children to have safe haven while their mothers worked at night in the red light district. And I actually met Rahaul there back in 2002. And I remember him coming and sharing a little bit about his life. And we sat on the steps while the children played around us right in the center of the red light district. I mean, it was right in the heart. Yeah. But we really got to know each other. You went away and did other work, didn't you? And then I came back a few times to India, but you were no longer working for the charity at that time. But we really, really connected back in 2010.
Yes.
And that's when really you became my main fixer. So in a journalism terms, a fixer is the person who really sets the story for you. You were my translator, you were my bodyguard, you made sure I got the access where I needed. And I couldn't do anything in the red light district without Rahaul's approval. I think that was quite an incredible experience because for me, I actually had to feel I had to entrust you with my life. Yeah. And we giggle about it now, but I'm quite a strong-willed woman.
You've been trusting me more. I believe that. I can see that I remember all those moments.
I'm quite a strong-willed woman, and to entrust your decisions. And we're from very different cultural backgrounds. And we had a few moments working together.
When we travel, along like 1,000 miles going to Karnataka, oh my, that was an amazing experience.
We traveled many miles, many hours. We saw many hard things over the years, and we had some very special moments. We shared many meals together in the floors of brothels, in the red light district, in people's homes, and in your family home. You grew up in a red light district. Could you share what your childhood was like, where you grew up, and share some of your experiences?
The red light district means lots of bad things happens every hour, every minute, everywhere around you. That's the red light district, and that's where I grown up, born and raised. I remember I was talking with my mother, and I was asking a question, which hospital I born? So she said, you born in the brothel. So that's where I born, and living in the red light district and in the brothel, growing as a child. I do not remember everything, but I remember some kind of pictures, as an age of 3 to 4, 5. I see around me most of girls, and they have a different kind of clothes and wearing and different kind of makeups, and they've been beaten. And that's how I used to see around me. And I had no future, as I grown up, age of, it's really hard living born in the red light area. I do remember when I was asking question my mom, which hospital I born, and my mother said, you born in the brothel, and that's where you born. And that means I see myself, I born in the brothel, not even the hospital. Even I didn't get the privilege to come born in the hospital. I born there, and as I grown up, like age of 3 to 4, I do not remember everything. I can remember a little bit pictures, how the girls around me and surround me. Most of time, these girls look after me, and they fed me, and they taught me. I played with them, and as I grown up, like 4 or 5 or 6, in this time of period, I'm completely thinking and understanding what's going on around me. And one person comes and he took to the girls and he come back. You understand as a child, around you, and you try to understand what's going on. And they're giving money, and they're taking money, and they're giving to brothel owner. And all this kind of picture, I was trying to understand what is going on, As I grown up, many a time I see many girls being beaten and tortured, forced to have a sex with the men. I do remember some of girls, her name was Malika, and she's been beaten like anything. And as a baby, and I was crying, I was also crying. I said, what is happening? Why is she crying? That kind of experience, it is really hard. And as I grown up around 7 to 8, and that age where child needs to go to school, I had no privilege to go to school because of my background. I remember when my mother took me to the school to get the admission. So these teachers, they said, we won't allow your children just because of the label prostitute. And that's the reason I never got the privilege to go to school. But there was a deep down desire, to learn and understand. I used to see the children, different. When I go out of the red light, I see the children having a bag, tie, and all those things. So you always have a desire, to learn. But I never get that privilege because of only I born and raised in the red light district. I had labeled the prostitution, and that's the reason it was hard. Later on, we got some person and he tried to put into the school, and that's how I got little formal education.
You didn't have the opportunity as a child to learn to read or write?
No. See, the thing is that there is I don't think so, a boy or girl born in the red light area, and they know about the education because their parents, their mother in the sex slavery, and the atmosphere around, there is no way you can find the education. Do you understand? There is no way you find the education. Nobody will come and teach you like, learn. You will make your future. You become doctor. You become nurse. I had no dream about that. I become doctor, nurse. Nobody taught us. Because you need some good atmosphere. You need some good people. Educate people. Like I see now, people around the world, because they are living in the good atmosphere.
I'm aware, for the boys and young girls in the red light, there's many children born in brothels still today. I suppose without an education, the only future is to join the gang.
Yeah.
If you're a boy, sell drugs or become a pimp or a trafficker.
Yeah.
Or the girls, if you're a daughter of a prostitute, your only choice is to follow your mother.
Yeah.
Or become a manager or a madam. So
there is no future in the red light district. I'm telling you, there is no future. You cannot find a future because you're living in the bad atmosphere. You growing in the bad atmosphere. When you get up, you're not going to hear a good morning, hi, hello, how are you? You will get direct bad word. So how are you going to accept that you're going to learn good things, There is no way you will get good things.
What was it like at nighttime when your mother was working, and did you have enough food? What was daily life like for you?
Actually, my daily life was very horrible as a child. I sleep many times without food, hunger stomach, and I used to take a bath once in a 6 months, and mostly I used to take a bath whenever rain means. That is our full of enjoyment. So you can take bath anytime.
That's monsoon season, and we've seen that. The kids in the red light district, when the rain comes, the water would come down the tarpaulin, and we would see all the kids come out and not only wash but dance and wash it. Dance.
So that is a festival for us. Okay, like you can enjoy anytime, night, day. You just take a bath. That monsoon time, I was more clean and neat and good because whenever you want, you jump to the rain and take a bath. But while food and living standard was very bad, I used to sleep under the bed where lots of girls sexually abused, Literally,
you used to sleep under the bed?
Yeah, under the bed where lots of girls sexually abused by the customers.
So you'd be sleeping under the bed while the customer would be with the girls above?
Yeah. That's how I used to sleep because I had no shelter and no place where I can sleep, And mostly rain time was a good for a take a bath, but rain time was a bad to sleep because you don't have a place. Because I used to sleep outside when rain is not there, but when rain comes, so I have no option. So it's very small places, 3x6 room, and under that you going under the bed and you're sleeping, and you can literally understand what is happening and what the customer is talking and what the customer is doing.
You're exposed to everything. And just to explain to those listening, give you an idea of what Kamatipura is like. It's really made up of 5 main lanes. There's approximately, when I first went, 20,000 women and children living and working there. And so where Rahaul grew up, there's big bungalow houses. And in those bungalow houses, there are literally 10, 20, 30 brothels. And then in one brothel, there'll be like 10 women working with maybe only 4 beds to share. And then their children would be living there. So it's very standard. I actually remember, Rahaul, the very first time I came to India in 2002, I've got a photograph of a little baby. A customer had just left a brothel. I walked in and the baby was sleeping just by the edge of the bed, just under the bed. This was shocking. But when it really hit me is when I went to the charity's home for children, where they used to take children like you, Rahaul, had grown up in the red light, and they would take the girls at risk so they wouldn't follow their mothers. And at night in this home, the girls were still sleeping under the bed, even though they had a perfectly good bed, because that's all these little girls had known. And that's when it really hit me that this is the daily reality. So you just sharing that reminds me.
Yeah. No, still it happened in the red light district. The mother had no choice where to send the baby, where to make baby to sleep,
Rahaul, you have a very interesting family history.
Yeah.
How did your family come to Kamatipura? Could you tell us a little bit about your mum, what your mum did, and then also the history of your family?
My family involved in the 5th generation in the prostitution. India is full of God, 33 million gods. You cannot believe, 33 million God. Out of that, one God called Elama, which is located in the India, Karnataka. So this God, for girls get married, that means they are married with God. So that is what, you get married with God, so you don't need to marry. And people can abuse you, people can use you. So that's called a temple prostitute. So that's how my grandma. So my grandma, she all the way came from Karnataka to Mumbai in the British time.
So that's during the British Raj,
yes,
when Britain ruled India, and it's called the British Raj era. So this is giving it a little bit of time context. What is this? If it's your grandmother, probably the 1920s, 30s. Is that about right?
1920, I believe, So she came and she started a business with a small, and she understood the things because she used to take the gods of Elama and go. So she was a very smart, very fast. She collected everything and she started running the brothels. She bought the many girls from the Karnataka, and she connect with the agents and police. I remember I was asking my mother this question. So she used to say, my mom, she was the most powerful woman in the red light district. You know what? She used to supply the young minor girl to this British soldier. I said, what? I cannot imagine. She said, you have to. She's saying, I saw in my eyes, I was baby. My mother was telling me. I said, wow. So that she used to supply the girls to the British soldier. That's how she used to run. And she became very, very powerful. And when she became very young, because she came around the 12 or 13 age to Mumbai, when she became young, she was most wealthy woman in the red light district.
Just to give a bit of history to Kamatipura, like most red light districts around the world, Kamatipura was built as, it originally was a trades area. You can correct me here, Rahaul. Kamati means tradesman, because this is my teacher sitting in front of me to teach me about the red light district and the history of it. But Kamatipura ended up becoming a comfort zone, a place for the British soldiers to come to be with prostitutes. And it was very standard practice across the world, actually, for the military to go to comfort zones. These men are at war, and these comfort zones were created, basically red light districts. And we actually found in researching the book, and Rahaul and I went to the library and we found the history I have to say, getting a library card in Mumbai is like trying to get a visa to a country, but that's a whole nother story. We went in and found the history that, also Danny Smith, who helped me on the history side of the book in Taken, we even found memos from British soldiers talking about getting local Indians, which would have been like your grandmother, procuring pretty young girls for the soldiers, which is basically trafficking. It was happening before the 1920s. This has been happening for generations. So Kamatipura ended up, becoming this red light district, which at first was servicing the soldiers. So just to give a bit of context and history to that. So share more about what happened with your family.
So she became the most wealthy woman in the red light area in those days. So my mother means lots of information I got from my mother. She had more than 400 brothels around the red light area, because it's a big red light area, different areas. So she has every area, one house, two house, three brothel, few brothels. And she had every brothel almost 20 to 25 girls. So she had thousands of girls under her, and everyday income, full, every night, means morning, they used to do the counting. So they put the money into the bag, full bag of money, only money, because all the brothel money, somebody goes, manager, they collect and they bring into my grandma, and she used to count and she used to put a trunk of money like that. Those time, and that's how my grandma, and my grandma.
And they bought land, didn't they? Because when you and I travelled, we travelled together. I went to Karnataka with you. Yeah. You took me to your family's land, which, am I understanding right, was bought with this money?
That's right.
And there was even a little temple. I remember a little temple to your grandmother. Yeah.
Today also we have that, but normally I don't go.
I've seen firsthand.
She had thousands of acre land, but many houses and everything, and my mother, means my grandmom, want my mother to take her footsteps and take care of all these things. And my mother, she don't like it. But she had no choice. At the age of 8, my grandma forced my mom to be a temple prostitute. And she took all the way from Mumbai to Karnataka, and she did all the puja, bhakti, arti, worshipping, and she dropped her to the temple prostitute. So she cannot marry. In Indian culture, if you already married with God, nobody will marry you. They will look you they can use you. They can use you as like a girlfriend and like that.
So your mum was forced into sex slavery, basically. Yeah. What was life like for your mum? How big is your family? How many children did she have?
So she came back from Karnataka to Mumbai, and she was living in the red light area with my grandma. So my grandma was involved with the drugs. She was involved with the all gambling world, everything. As my mother was growing, I think age of 14 or 15, she ran away and she bought 4 children when she back to home. So my mom said, I will accept you when you take care of my business. That was a condition for my mom. And my mom said, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That is not my business. It is your business. Even you are wealthy, I don't care about your wealth. I don't want to do. So my mother had no choice, but somehow they compromised, and my grandma gave a little place to let my mom and we can stay there. And I remember small little memory about my grandma. She was like sitting like a king, and all the people used to come around her, even police and pimps and agents, and they used to give money, bribes to all those things. As she became old, and she got into the cancer. So when she got into the cancer, so she started using all this money to play a gambling. There are different kind of gambling those days. So she almost lost all the property, all the house and everything, and she come with only one house. before she died, she was in the debt. And many people made a fool because that time my mother was not matured, and and her sister, so they didn't know what is happening, and everything has been taken away from my mother. And unfortunately, she came to in the same area with a small house, I can say, like a tent.
So your mother was forced to be prostituted. She had to continue prostitution to survive.
Yeah.
Could you describe, Rahaul, for someone that doesn't know Kamatipura or has seen any photographs or any film, in your own words, describe what Kamatipura is like? Like, what does it look like? What does it smell like? Does it have its own economy?
The red light area is mostly run in the night time. Because there is a community, different community where all the girls been in the sex slaves, and different part of community, good people, wealthy people. I remember when I was, a small teen, I remember many people, you cannot believe this, that time, very much Nepali girls, okay? Many Middle East from Dubai, all this Rafiq, they call Rafiq, they used to come and they used to take these girls to hotel and stay few days. And when they come with a full of bag and full of money. So the red light district, normally you can say it's run by night, and and it's around, you can see the gambling, you can see the all dirty things, you can see the fighting, crime, murder, you can see the police corrupting, you can see literally police are taking the money.
Yeah, it's very violent, isn't it? Very violent. Yeah. I mean, I saw with you.
Yeah, you saw
many fights. It wasn't just one. You would hear screams, and there'd be a person lying on the ground, and they'd come out with big machetes.
Yeah,
I witnessed this. I saw knives. It's gangs. It's basically gangs, right? And each lane has a different gang in control, and they were constantly fighting.
Yes. They protect their. For example, we used to protect our people, so we get the deal and we get the money. And that is we call matter. If you sold some matter, so you get some kind of amount, and you want to show you are the king of your territory, And mostly in the red light area, I can tell you, people won't get the peace. 24 by hours, you get the bad language, you get to see the bad things. You get to see the people living in the worst situation. You get to see the bloods. Every 24 hours, you'll get some fighting or some problem, some issue. Something will happen.
Or a girl will be killed. Rahaul and I have seen a lot. But what you have seen, I can't compare. I've only seen a split second in your life. But
yeah, that's right.
I remember, I apologize before I share this, but just to people to really understand the level of violence, girls are killed. If a girl tries to escape, a girl is valuable, so they don't want a girl to escape because someone has bought that girl. But girls had also been killed. I remember one of the girls that we knew got beheaded. And I remember you were in shock. We shared that moment. It was a girl we knew from, I believe it was a 10th or 11th lane. I would call it a war zone. It's a gangland. Yeah. But the problem is with this war zone, there is no front line. You don't know when a fight will happen. You don't know when a girl is going to be abused or attacked. When you're hiding inside the brothels, Rahaul would hide me to document. I could hear the cries of the girls through the walls. You could hear it. But one thing which maybe people don't realize is how the girls are forced there. Rahaul, could you explain where the girls are held and what the rooms look like and the secret spaces? Why do the police not go in and rescue them?
Very good question, Miss Hazel. I really like this question. This is the most important question. I feel that, many people don't know different brothel, and they have a different ideas. They come with the different ideas, how to hide, how to keep. Even prostitution is legal, but the prostitution legal above the 18 age. If you keep under the 18 age, then it is illegal, because that calls a minor. You cannot use minor girls as a prostitution, because that count as a child. So mostly those are people, having under the 18 girls, they have to hide these girls underground places. They have their own ideas. Some people, they make a wall, and under the wall, you will find some people make the ground, There are different brothel, different kind of setup.
You took me to a secret space.
That kind of secret places you can see. And the reason they make these secret places to keep the girls when anything happens. For example, normally police do not do anything. If anybody complain, then they will go and they will investigation, because based on complaint, they have to do their job. If they are not anybody complainer, then they are not going to do anything. You understand?
Yeah. These spaces, you and I spent years to get photographic evidence. When I first went to Kamatipura, I actually hadn't heard about trafficking. And I first went, that's when I learned about trafficking. And over the years, I started to learn that the girls were being held in cages, especially the minor girls, so the underage girls. And to be honest, most of the girls enter underage. Rahaul, the average age, either you're born into sex slavery, so as soon as you hit an age where you're saleable, and virgins come at a premium, right?
Yeah.
So they could be prostituted 8, 9, 10. This is just normal. Or the girls will be taken and trafficked in. And most girls, the girls we interviewed and spent time with, most of them came around 10, 11, right? Yeah. So these are little girls who, especially if they're not born into Kamatipura, don't even know what sex is.
No, they don't know, because they brought from somewhere and they put into the cage, and somebody come and they will put you in the dark. You will never find, where you are. So
to put that in context. When they take the girls and they bring them to the red light. So one girl, the story that I followed in the book Taken, she's called Goody. For example, she was brought to the red light district age 13 from a small village outside Kolkata. She knew nothing. They brought her to a brothel. They have a systematic way to break these girls. So they rape them to break them. So they raped her to break her. And then they put them in a cage. And when it's a cage, it's not just a cage with bars. It's a cage within a cage within a cage. So Rahaul would take me deep inside. These are many cage doors, but actually the spaces that I learned that these girls were often found in were actually what I would call cage boxes, not much higher than a table, and they couldn't stretch their legs out.
Yes.
They're cracked down. They couldn't even sit up.
Even there's sometimes cockroach, rat,
and it's dark, no light.
Yeah, no light, and cats. I remember
it's hot, right? Really,
very hot,
really hot.
Really.
So they can't breathe, and so these girls will be kept in these boxes, and the only time they're brought out would be to get food, or to have sex. The customer.
Food and sex. And for example, if anybody good customer come with a good money, so they will produce these girls and they will show this is a new girls, virgin, and it's very good. I can enjoy and you can have it, and they will deal them. Then girl has to be used. Even they use a few times and they will just say this is a new girl, and that's how they get the good money.
I remember you sharing with me when you were a little boy. Your family would use you like a runner, right? To get the food for the girls. Share about that.
When you're kids, it's very easy to access inside. So I used to get the food. I used to get the things. For example, I don't know how to say, but many times this brothel owner sent me to the shop to get the condoms, And I used to go and buy the condoms and I used to give, and that was one of the very bad experience. And apart from that, at the age of 8, when I was 8, I was sexually abused. And that really breaks my heart. And I was mentally disturbed. I was trying. And that's the moment I understand, what's going on around me. So far, till age, I did not understood lots of things, what is happening with these girls. And that's the moment when I've been through this, I was abused. So I was looking to share, I was looking to tell, and there was nobody who can hear me. There was nobody who can help me. There was nobody who can understand what I'm going through. And I was trying to explain what is happening with me, because that moment I was trying to, forgot, but it was keep coming. It was one of the dangerous experience, it can disturb my mind even now also. Sometimes if I go past, it's really hard. I feel very bad. And, that kind of experience I've been through. And I don't want any single child in the red light area, those are born or living there or growing, they would go through. But mostly children, they go through. I know many story. Girls being sexually abused, girls, mother, for example, mother having a customer, and mother had no choice. So the child will sleep under the bed, and the customer comes with the one intention to have a sex.
With the child, with the mother.
When he had the sex with the mother, so they give alcohol, he drinks, sleep, then child is down under the bed. So the customer intention to have a sex. So he found that baby and this girl, he had a sex with that girl and run away. That kind of many story I can share. I remember many story, this kind of story happened. So there are many children, many girls or boys, those are raising in the red light area. They are in the risk. They face highest risk anybody in the world, I can say. You cannot think they are secure. They are in the risk. They need help. They need someone who can hear. They need someone who can understand them. They have a desire. They have a dream, But being born in the red light area doesn't mean you are out of the world. You are in the world and you need to make your future. And there is no one who can explain. But I'm very happy that, there are many NGO working and they are reaching out this kind of children.
We met because it's down to an NGO. Over the years, they entrusted me and gave me access to the work that everyone was doing. All of you were doing. You were part of the team. You were rescue officer. Yeah. I saw the urgent need and I saw the high risk these children are at. And it felt like a tsunami of suffering. I feel it's actually quite a privilege that I know where you grew up. I've sat in your grandmother's brothel. I've sat on a bed that is from 3 generations back. I know your family. I saw the street that you slept on. And I can say to all those are listening, that is no place for any child to grow up. A red light district is a place of pain. It is not a place of pleasure. And that's one thing.
It is pain. I'm telling you, this is a very horrible pain. Very horrible pain. My experience, when I've been through this experience, as I grown up, I was hating the people. I was hating. I feel to kill the people.
Yeah.
I feel whenever I see, I have to kill them. That kind of revenge you're having kind of revenge. And as I grown up, I was very different child. So
share about that. What happened? Because you joined one of the gangs, right?
Yeah. See, when I become, I've been sexually abused age of 8 and I become 11 and 12. So I understand what is happening with these girls, what these people are doing, what teams are doing, how this red light district run. I understand the main power is the money. If you have money and everything you will get it. You want to get money, then you have to be powerful. So around the 13 or 14 age, my height become like a 6 feet. Okay.
Rahaul is tall.
Yeah, I was tall.
You're tall and you're big, and that's partly why I'm still alive today.
Yeah, and I learned so much things. I learned living in the red light district. I learned all the tools how to use. I learned how to speak, take the work from people. And then that's how I used to stay in the red light area. And then I understand how these pimps bring the girls and how they get the money. So we started catching the pimps and getting the money from them. We started solving the problem.
Wait, you were robbing the pimps?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You were robbing the pimps. What, your gang?
Yeah. Means, see, the thing is that, let me tell you, the influence. My grandma had a good influence. You understand? Many people knows. Somewhere we drop out. But again, when we grown up, because we are a four brother. So we grown up. So as we grown up, so our strength also grown up. Did you get my point?
Yeah, and I saw this firsthand.
Yeah.
I mean, I had immunity because of the reputation of your family. You and your brothers, no one would come near me if you were with me.
Yeah.
And I saw this. You were feared. You were feared in the area.
And age of 14, 15, one of my biggest dream to join the underworld mafia. And that was my biggest dream. The underworld, Daud Abraham, he born and raised next to my area. So my desire to join his gang and become a very bad gang member. I remember once I took some kind of tool, like a sword in my back, and I used to keep and stand and put in the neck to someone and take the money and ask them money. So that kind of things we were doing. And I was involved in some kind of drugs, taking alcohol. And see, the thing is that living in the red light area, it is very hard because you face every day so many problems. So you have to take care of yourself. You need money, you need food, you need clothes, you need lots of things. How are you going to get? You can't get because society is not accepting you. You're out of the society. So whatever I have to do, survive myself, so I have to generate the things under the red light area. Soon I become so famous. So I started, whenever elections happen, politician elections happens, so I used to ask them, this much money you have to give us, then we will ask all the girls. Because in those days when I was very young, almost like 80,000 girls. So in one line, you'll get...
In Kamatipura, there was 50 to 80,000.
Yeah, when I was...
And am I right in saying those politicians owned some of the brothels?
There is no doubt.
So you were basically they were giving you what, protection money?
No, the election...
Voting.
Voting.
Oh my gosh. They were paying you to get the prostitutes to vote for them.
Yeah. Because we were their king. I can say we were night king.
I didn't know this. I knew that many politicians own the brothels, but I didn't know they rigged the election.
When you touch the topic, then the things will come. Sometimes when you touch the topic. So we were called night king. We whole night used to not sleeping, and morning used to sleep. So mostly we had some kind of very strong hold in the red light area. People known, So this politician, I used to deal with them, sitting with the table and asking, you need to give 10 lakh.
How much is 10 lakh in dollars or pounds?
I believe 7,000-8,000.
7,000-8,000 pounds, which is a lot of money in India.
Yeah, a little money. But see, the thing is that it is not only one politician. When you fight the election, there will be many politicians. So what I used to do, I had a team, I had a team. Okay, I had a team. So one team will work for you, one team will work for them, one team will... All you need to fix the job. So I used to take 3-4 politician money, okay, and divide the team, and they will put their table and ask them to elect to this person, elect to this person.
Wow.
But all they need are people, because they don't have access to in the red light area. They can only come and show the hand, please vote me. But the power makes the things possible. Yeah. So that power I use for election, and I remember many bad things which was happen. Many times we had a fight. And we've been to many times police. And my brother was most dangerous. Means once I can can forgive. Once I can forgive, but he is like no forgiveness.
I know his reputation was well known. Talking about your family a bit more, Rahaul, why are you not one of the biggest gangsters in Mumbai? And I now know that your family, when I first went to Mumbai, your mum was no longer a prostitute. She was now running and helping the children of the red light. She was running the night shelter. It's not just you, it's your brother, your most feared brother, your other brother. All of you now are helping girls escape or helping basically what happened? Why is your family no longer trafficking and running these brothels?
Let me tell you what happened. So age of 14 to 16, I was involved a lot worse things. And I want to become like now, do it whatever I want to do. And age of 16, I remember many people in the red light area, many people, they spoke over my life. They said, this is a word. I remember it still. They said, you are the worm who born in the gutter, live in the gutter, and die in the gutter. Those words spoke over and over in my life. As a childhood, I was growing. So there was so much pain, so much shame, and so much hurt, and that hurt, was in my life. And as I was growing, so many things I saw in my life. My life was more than painful, I can say, Childhood was very suffering. When I become young, now I'm facing lots of problems, police and gang, lots of things. So I decided to kill myself. So I took the poison to end my life. I do remember when you go through this kind of life and living this kind of life and challenges, all these things, you don't have any choice. And that is what happened with me. I had no choice to live in this world. So I took the poison to end my life. But I think God doesn't want me to come fast. So he had another assignment, gave me a second life.
You were given a second chance.
Yeah, second chance.
We're leaving Rahaul's story on quite a cliffhanger. I hope today's conversation has been eye-opening for you. It certainly has been for me. Even though I've known him for over 20 years, he told me a number of new things about his life and how a red light district operates. Please join us for the next episode to hear the rest of his extraordinary story and journey. You've been listening to me, Hazel Thompson, on Beyond the Story. Please consider supporting the work of my guest today by clicking on the relevant links below. And if you've liked what you've heard, do help fund the production of further episodes by giving to Beyond the Story's GoFundMe page. To make sure you never miss an episode, you can click follow on Apple, Spotify, or whatever platform you're using. And please do share the link with your friends. Thank you for joining me on this journey and hearing the first-hand experiences of ordinary people surviving the extraordinary and the transformational power of hope in not only surviving, but thriving beyond the story. Special thanks to my incredible team, executive producer Nancy Fraser, assistant producer Ella Kachani. The audio is produced by Drew Hawley at Lab Studios, and the music is by George Holiday.